Hey, hope you're all doing well. I just got back from seeing Scream 6 on the day that it came out, and it's not bad. It's pretty good. I do have my pros, I do have my cons, but most notably this is a spoiler review, so if you haven't seen the movie or intend to see it, I suggest clicking off. Now, right off the bat, I'm going to say from the beginning of the movie all the way up until the reveal, I thought it was great. I enjoyed every second of it. I think it was thoroughly entertaining. I think it was the most intense and gruesome Scream movie that we've ever gotten, and I really loved the way they were going with it in the beginning of the movie. I think it's worth noting that this is the only Scream film that's made me clench my fist and put my hand over my mouth and go, wow, holy shit. And hats off to them because of that. I think it was fantastic. It really made you shake your head sometimes, but it also made you tilt it and go, wait, what the fuck? So in the beginning of the movie, there's a girl, she's out to meet this guy that she met on a date. He's talking to her on the phone because he's lost, he can't find the place. He's like, oh, do you see an alley near you? So I know I'm going in the right direction. She goes out there. She's like, yeah, I'm in the alley, whatever, which I know is so fucking dumb. But it's actually really fun in the movie. Eventually Ghostface comes out, stabs her a couple thousand times, crouches down, and takes off his mask in front of the camera. And that's the part where you're like, wait, that's illegal, what the fuck? After that, he goes back to his dorm, and we're informed that him and his friend are both ghost faces, or trying to be ghost faces, so that way they can kill Sam and Tara. And I'll get into why in a minute. And the reason he killed that lady in the alleyway was to get a little bit of practice in. And that part was interesting to me. I was like, okay, well, clearly these aren't going to be the actual killers of the movie because there's no way they'd reveal them to us so quickly. It just doesn't make any sense. Plus, he's wearing the normal mask, and I would think, the main Ghostface would wear, the scarred one. And he gets on his phone with his friend, his partner, killer in crime, whatever, and finds out it's not actually him, and his partner's body is cut up in the fridge. Then the actual Ghostface pops out, kills him, and then, title drop shit. I know that just sounded like more of a ramble, but if you actually see the movie, you'll understand the context behind everything. But I thought that was really cool because we technically get to see a Ghostface get killed in the first 10 minutes of the movie. Even though he's not in costume, we get to know what their plans are, why they're doing what they're doing, and it's really interesting to me. So with that being said, let me get into why they were going to kill Sam and Tara. So reason being was because they were friends with Richie, and since Richie died, they wanted to finish his film because they survived. He's gotta kill him, and that was pretty cool, I guess. It was a little weird. It's like, okay, well, how many fucking people did Richie tell this to? I mean, he's got 2 people here, and then he's got Amber. So it's like, that's a lot of people in on this shit. Like, how do you know they're going to stay quiet about it? How do you know that they're actually down for it? Whatever, because they'd have to know. There's no way they just knew. He must have said something to them. This is the beginning of the end for me. I hate this shit. They make Richie incredibly important in this movie, and I really don't like that because he was like one of my least favorite killers, and he really didn't do much. Amber did like 99% of the killing in that fucking movie, yet he's seen as this really important character here. And don't get me wrong, he's not seen as this important character in terms of like he's the best Ghostface or anything, but the 3 main Ghostfaces of the movie are his dad and his siblings, which is fucking dumb to me. It's like, okay, well, you have a whole killer family here. There's nothing special about this, really. You guys cracked up, oh, these Ghostface killers are different. This killer is different. And it's really nothing crazy. I mean, it's unexpected, but it's also like, well, I don't really care. Like, this isn't nuts to me. This isn't like a really cool reveal. It's like, okay, whatever. And then you have his 2 friends who are also connected to Richie. So everybody who had a Ghostface mask on in this movie had something to do with Richie, and I really don't like that. I will be honest though, the end of the movie wasn't as enjoyable for me because I did kind of get caught up in theories and stuff, which I know is my own fault, but I really was hoping that not only did the Ghostface killer have something more to do with somebody in the past, I really wanted him to get away this time. I wanted Ghostface to win in the end. Maybe you got the other ones, but you didn't get this one, and that leads into Scream 7, the final movie, because we really don't need any more than that. I just don't really think it was as good as it could have been. I think Ghostface getting away and leaving his mask or dropping his mask would have been so fucking cool because people will be like, well, who is this Ghostface? And it'd draw more in for the next movie. It's like, why? I don't understand. The movies are just this rinse and repeat, and they try to make it sound like it's not, like it's different every time, but it isn't. There's a whodunit situation the entire time. People die, and then Ghostface gets revealed and killed at the end. It's always like that, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but when you want something different and then they crack it up as being something different, as Ghostface being something different, and then it isn't, it's really, really disappointing. This is where it gets into, like, fan shit. Like, this is where it really irritates me, because these characters are supernaturally durable. Like, these motherfuckers are getting shot, stabbed through their mouths, and having the knives twisted in their heads and still getting back up and surviving, even more so than Scream fucking 5. Like, these killers are legitimately invincible. And then people want to complain that Stu can't be alive because of this shit. Listen, I like Stu being alive. I think it would have been cool if he made a cameo, if he was behind it or something, right? But it just doesn't sit right with me that these killers can go through so much punishment, but Stu has to be dead. It's like, come the fuck on. They even talk about it in the movie. Like, Kirby and Mindy have this scene where they see the TV, and they're like, oh, well, this is the TV that killed Stu. And then one of them says, like, well, if you even believe he's dead. They say that. They acknowledge it. And then they make these killers go through some crazy shit, and they're still alive. It's like, what the fuck? Now, listen. As much as I'm salty about, you know, Stu not being the killer, that's not really that big of a deal to me. It's more so about how the killers are so connected to Richie, as I mentioned before. But it makes sense, though. If you really think about it, Scream 2022 was the introduction to a lot of people in terms of Scream. The very first movie that a lot of them seen. These are the characters that they knew. So it makes sense for Richie to be involved, because this is the character that they've known since the last movie. So it makes sense for everything to connect. But for people who've seen all the movies in the past and been fans for a very, very long time, it's a little more difficult. But I speak more so for myself than anyone else, because I really did like the movie. I just didn't like the ending as much, and I know a lot of other Scream fans really did love the movie, and I understand why. It was great in so many different ways, but I felt like it fell flat in that one department, and I think that's the most important part of the movie, the reveal. I feel like the shrine had so much more potential than it actually got. It's revealed that Richie's dad helped him build that shrine, because Richie loved those movies so much. He loved, you know, the killers and everything so much. And, you know, wholesome dad moment type shit. But it's like, I would have loved it so much more if there was a single person with, like, a cultish following, or just other people who were in on this, who had this shrine. And then the main person wore Billy's robe, Billy's mask, or whatever. And then they were kind of like the ringleader, and then that person got away. I think that would have been much better for me, in my opinion. You may disagree with that, and that's completely fine. It's all subjective. I also think it would have been awesome to have an after credits scene. So I was waiting in the theater to see if they had something, just something that pointed somewhere. And no, there was nothing. Actually, there was a scene of Mindy saying not every movie has to have an after credits scene, and that's it. Which is really fucking lame, because not only did I feel called out, but because they could have had something alluding to another killer. But there was literally nothing at all, and that fucking blows. Here's the thing, though. If they do end up making a Scream 7, I heard a rumor that it got greenlit. I don't know how true that is, but if they do end up making a Scream 7, then what the fuck is it gonna be about? All loose ends are being tied. So what, there's just gonna be another killer now? Completely unrelated? Like, it's just so weird. Because a part of me wants another movie, because I just really wasn't satisfied with that ending. Maybe after I see it a few more times, I'll start to warm up to it. But as of now, as the movie's fresh in my mind, I'm really not satisfied with it, and I want more. I want something better, at least in my opinion. So if they leave it off at that, kind of sucks, but I guess it's understandable. And, you know, it is what it is. One thing I'd like to point out is that nobody from the other movies died. None of them. Not Gale. Not fucking Mindy, not Chad, even though it looked like he was. He should have been, considering he got stabbed like 50 times. You know, not Sam, not Tara. None of them died. The only people that died were from the new cast of this movie. They all lived, which is cool, but it's like, holy shit, bro. How do all of them survive? That's nuts. This movie had a tremendous amount of fan service, which I loved. I thought it was really, really cool to see all the shit from the past movies in one room. I think the room in and of itself was just pure fan service, and bringing Kirby back and everything was really, really cool. I have no complaints about that. It was kind of hard for me to be worried about them when I felt like they were protected, especially Tara and Sam. I knew that they weren't going to die. It wouldn't make sense for Sam to die, and Tara is just really, really popular. But I didn't feel like they were going to pass. The only person I got scared that was gonna die was Chad. But even then, I was like, he could be okay, right? He could be alive, possibly. I mean, shit, Gale's probably alive too. You know, because this movie has a habit of beating people within an inch of their life and then saying, oh yeah, they're chill. You know what I mean? They're gonna make a recovery type shit. So it was kind of hard for me to put any of them in danger. So like I said, the only people that got killed off were the new ones. So this is something that I knew wouldn't happen, and it wouldn't really make much sense would happen, but it would just be so fucking cool. So Melissa Barrera's, why did I say Melissa Barrera? Sam's boyfriend, his name is Danny, and he seems like a pretty good guy throughout the movie. You know, it wouldn't make sense for him to be the killer, so I didn't really suspect him, because why would they do the boyfriend again? But yeah, his name is Danny, and the first thing that came to my mind was Danny Johnson slash Jed Olson from Dead by Daylight. Could this be them bringing him into this universe? But no, I mean, his name, I don't think his last name was ever revealed, so I guess it's still possible. But yeah, that kind of sucks. It's like, damn, man. That would have been so fucking cool, bro. Because Danny the GOAT, he really is the GOAT. So that's about it, I think. This video is more of like a ramble than a structured review, which is fine. You know, it's just my immediate thoughts after seeing the movie. So I thought it was good. In general, I thought it was a really, really good movie. Disappointed by the reveal, but overall, I thought the movie was good. Just could have done some things better. You know, everyone has their habit of when they're watching movies, like, kind of wish this went that way, or would have been cool if they did this instead. You know, I was doing that. I'm sure everyone else is doing that too. I think it was a solid film. Definitely one of the better ones. But, yeah, I just think that it could have been done better in the end.